Welcome to Gloucester Academy BBC News with me, Chloe.
And me, Kira. First up, breaking news. The new build interview with our head teacher.
Let's go over to our on-field reporter who is at the new build. Sam?
Hello, and behind me is the new Gloucester Academy build, which will be costing £15 million and will contain the most high-tech and most forward technology in Gloucestershire, and will contain the new school's equipment and everything else like students. Over to the interview with Mr. Riley.
A lot more handheld devices than you're used to. Not necessarily just iPads. There'll be palm tops. We're going to buy a range of different equipment and experiment with them and see which ones are best suited for which type of learning. But there's also, I mentioned, a radio station. There's going to be a green screen so we can do filming like this against proper backgrounds. Blogging, we can burn our own CDs in the equipment we've got there, so when somebody's done a music performance we can actually record it, make sure there's a CD. I'd like us to make our own DVDs and film good learning going on. Sports facilities will be excellent. We've got a sports hall floor that will enable us to do all the normal indoor sports plus cricket and indoor cricket, and we're working with the English Cricket Board for giving us some money to make that happen. So we should be able to enhance all our sport with all the equipment we'll have. And then in the main classrooms, we should be able to register you electronically. We should be able to use cashless systems for catering. You won't have to carry money if you don't want to. You can just have your card swiped or whatever. Or maybe even, this is yet to be decided, maybe even thumbprint to sign into school. We're just waiting to see how much that will cost extra. So we will have systems that mean that all our young people experience the best of what's going on in the outside world. Because lots of businesses and companies now are cashless or do use biometrics. So we'll see if we can match that for you.
Just say, you said about the cricket board. How exactly did you get that funding?
Well, they approached us because Gloucester City lacks good indoor cricket facilities for people to train and clubs to practice in. So they said we would be interested in including in our new sports hall, and we talked to them. And we negotiated because it meant some changes to the original design, and they said they would be able to help fund those changes. So there's going to be indoor cricket nets in there. And in return, we've got to make sure that local cricket clubs can use the hall regularly. So, we can't just shut it at the end of the school day and not let anybody in the evening. It will be open in the evenings and weekends for clubs.
How did you decide what company would build the school?
There's a very strict process laid down by the government, and we had to go out to tender. We had to invite companies to bid to build it. I think originally there were 6, and then we looked at their plans and designs, and the governors with myself and some people from the government department that looks after these projects. We all sat around the table 18 months ago, whenever it was, a long time ago, and chose 2 that we thought were the best. And then they went head to head, and they both came into meetings, did presentations, talked about what they could give us for £15 million, and we went with the company we thought that could give us the best value. It was also nice, they were a local company based in Cheltenham, so they know the area, and that was also nice. But they had to go through that process.
What's the plan if the school is not finished on time?
Oh, that is my worst nightmare, because when we break up for the summer holiday, the builders come in here to start demolishing. So if the new school is not ready and they've already knocked this one down, we're in trouble in September. So that won't happen. What we'll do, we're keeping in touch with the builders regularly. They're updating us on progress, and they're still telling me that everything will be ready for the new build in the middle of August. I'm not going to have a summer holiday this year because I want to be around to make sure the building is ready. And as soon as we can get in there, we'll start making sure all the IT equipment works. The first big test for us will be the GCSE results day, because Year 11 youngsters are taking their exams this summer. They won't be able to come to this building. It'll be a building site, so they'll have to come to the new building, and we need to make sure it's open and ready for them. And then staff, we've got at the start of September, I'll put it in the newsletter that went out this week, and I'll keep pupils and parents updated. We're saying the first 2 days in September will be staff only, inset days. It'll allow us to get in there, make sure all the rooms are ready, and then we'll bring in the rest of the school in bits and pieces. And I think on the Wednesday we're suggesting just year 7 and year 12, and then the rest of the school later in the week. So you two might have a couple of extra days holiday.
Will new students be joining the school because of the new build?
That's a good question. At the moment we're told we're full next year's year 7, 210. Well, current year 8 and your year groups are all around 150, 160. So there's an extra 50 or 60 pupils wanting to join us in the year 7. Now, it might drop a little bit because sometimes people move or change their minds, but certainly it seems to be that we've attracted a bigger number. I'm sure the excitement about the new build is part of that. I hope it's for other reasons. I hope it's because of the improved reputation of the academy, but we'll see.
Thank you very much for answering our questions. That was our new report this morning.
Excellent. Very good questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And on a different subject, Gloucester Academy is putting on a concert tonight and one again in June.
We now go over to our interview with myself and Courtney.
Thank you, Chloe. Here we are with Miss Oster.
So, can you tell us a bit about the spring concert tonight, and are you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited. We've got loads of different musical acts tonight. We've got some Key Stage 3 lesson stuff, and we've got some soloists, and we've got some Year 11, and Year 10's doing some BTEC work as well, so we've got a big range of different musical activities.
So what made you become a music teacher?
My dad was a music teacher, and I've always been musical. I've got 3 brothers, and we all play instruments together, so I've always been musical, so I always just pass it on.
What made you choose Gloucester Academy?
I'm from around here originally, and I wanted to come here. It was quite exciting, all the new changes coming up. I saw all the build at the sixth form. It was really exciting, so I came back to come here.
What made you come from London to Gloucester?
London's a lovely place, but you couldn't be there forever and ever and ever, and I think it's manic, so I just wanted to come back to where I'm from.
Do you enjoy your job? Any particular things about it?
Yes, I enjoy my job. It's tiring. I get to the end of it every week and think, I'm knackered. But yes, I do enjoy my job. Keeps me busy, keeps me on my toes, and I love working with you lot and teaching you all music.
Do you like working with the students and getting close to them?
Yes, it's nice to get to know students and get to know individuals and what they can do and see them progress. It's really, really good.
In July we have the concert We Will Rock You. How are you going to help the students to understand the background of the actual show?
Or what, the story?
The story, yeah.
Well, I've seen it myself and it's amazing. It's so good, and hopefully we'll be able to take the class along to go and see it so they can just see for themselves what it's all about. But me and Miss Buckley work really closely together. We'll be working with big groups and small groups of people who need more help maybe than others, but hopefully it should all come together in the end. I think it'll be brilliant.
In your time being a musician, have you met any famous people or played with them?
Shall I tell you my claim to fame?
Yeah.
Well, I went to uni in Bangor in North Wales, and I don't know if you've heard of Radio 1's Big Weekend, and that came to Bangor when I was there, and I was in the chamber choir at the university, and we sang 3 backup singers for Florence and the Machine, and her set, and so we were on the stage in front of 10,000 people at this festival, and we're singing with her, and then Dizzy Rascal came in, and I was very excited.
You do play the violin, don't you?
Yeah.
Have you done anything else, like musically?
What, different instruments?
Yeah.
Well, I've done loads of different things with the violin. So I've done classical music, and then I've done folk music, and then I've been in jazz band. But I also play a range of different instruments, and I've had to learn new ones as I go, so I can teach you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now we have a special report from our radio star Faye.
Over to you.
Hello, me and Courtney are going to be interviewing Faye. So, what is it like to be a news reporter?
It's really interesting actually. Every day is different. You come in, you don't know what you're going to be reporting on, and you can be sent anywhere in the county. We normally deal with local stories. Sometimes it's national stories that we try and localise. but it's really exciting, especially when you're working towards a deadline and you have to try and nail the story and get it on air before the end of your deadline, and it's really satisfying. So, yeah.
What's one of the weirdest stories that you've ever done?
There's a group of naturists that come together in the Forest of Dean. So they're people that like taking their clothes off and roaming around the countryside. And they invited me along to their summer barbecue. And they said, no need to take your clothes off, you can come along fully clothed. So I did the whole interview with lots of people not wearing many clothes. It was very weird. I had to keep eye contact at all times.
So what qualifications do you need to become a journalist?
There's lots of routes into journalism. You can work your way up from the very bottom, making tea, answering phone calls and getting experience that way. You can do a media studies degree. Me personally, I went to university and studied English and art history. You don't necessarily need a qualification in media studies. You can get hands-on experience from working at local radio stations or community radio stations or hospital radio stations. You just need to demonstrate good communication skills and writing skills, and have a good general knowledge and have an interest in people. That's the most important thing.
Is there any stories that you always get that you always report on, that you could do regularly?
I do a regular show on BBC Gloucestershire. It's a Saturday and it's a magazine style show, and in that show I will always do things like the weather. I'll do music features, I'll do motoring interviews and fashion, and sometimes we talk about hair and skin and all the things that us ladies spend a lot of money on. So those are my regular features, but usually I'm asked to do all sorts of things.
What are the benefits of being a journalist?
The benefits of being a journalist, if you're a naturally nosy person, you get to find out everybody's business before everybody else does. It's hard work and long hours, and I think a lot of people might think it's very glamorous, you're mixing with celebrities and well-known people, but actually it is hard work. There's a lot of hanging around, waiting for that person that you want to interview. You have to be alert all the time and thinking on your feet. The pay isn't brilliant, but as you get further up the scale, perhaps into network radio or TV or national newspapers, the pay becomes better. But it's like any job. You have to work hard at, and hopefully the perks will come.
Is it fun what you do, or is there anything that you find fun and not?
It is really good fun, especially if you enjoy being with people. If you look at it, really, all you're doing, apart from the editing and thinking about stories and researching them, really all you're doing, what it boils down to, is talking to people all day long. And if you enjoy talking to people, then it's a great fun job. There's lots of surprises, and you have to be flexible. But the most enjoyable jobs are the ones that you perhaps didn't expect to be interesting. So you might think, oh, here we go, boring budget or something. We all have to report on things like that because they're of interest to everybody, but it's all about how you treat that particular subject, and sometimes you can have surprises, you can have big kind of exciting, eccentric characters that you meet along the way, so it's the surprises that make the job fun.
Have you met anyone famous?
Yeah, I've met lots of famous people, mainly through the Cheltenham Literature Festival. So I've met people like Joe Lumley, Terry Wogan, David Walliams, lots of interesting people. I meet interesting people at the National Hunt Festival. I met Ronnie Corbett, Jeremy Kyle, Shane out of Westlife. And yeah, it's weird when you meet them. Sometimes you can be a little bit starstruck, but you just have to remember that they're just people at the end of the day, maybe having a good time at the races, and it's just about getting the best out of them, really.
Who's like the best person that you met, like the most funniest, the most one that you could connect with?
I loved interviewing Terry Wogan. He's a radio person. To me, he's God. He's top of the pile. He understands how radio works. He's a real master at radio. So I have lots of admiration for him. And all around him was commotion and people saying, Terry, you're on stage in 5 minutes, and telling me that I only had 1 minute to interview him. And he said, just ignore them, ignore those people, you have as long as you want. So he gets radio, and he understands that you know, you want to have a conversation with someone, you want to get a good interview. So I have masses of respect for him.
Was it him that inspired you to do this, or somebody else?
That's a really good question, actually. I wasn't really too aware of Terry Wogan when I was a little girl on the radio. I knew that he did a lot of TV, but it's people on the radio would have to be people working in local radio, big personalities in local radio.
Have you always wanted to do this job, like from a little girl?
No, not at all. I didn't really know what I wanted to do at school. I thought perhaps going into newspapers and things like that. I went to university. I thought maybe I'd go into events organising, because I worked for the Students' Union for a bit. And then I fell into radio and did a bit of community radio and hospital radio, and thought this is the job for me. But that wasn't until I was 22, and I had quite a few jobs up until that point.
What was your favourite subject at school that you got on with the most?
I loved doing art. Really loved doing art and English, and that's why I went on to study English and art history at uni. And sometimes it comes in useful. The English definitely comes in handy doing this job, but not so much the art history.
So, like, what stage did you get into the journalism business? Did you start near the top or near the bottom?
Definitely near the bottom. So I did a short course in radio production in Birmingham, and then I started right at the bottom, making tea, answering phones, answering the door, researching stories. You just basically have to do anything you can to get your foot on the ladder. So right at the bottom.
That's it for today's show.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.